Hey, what's up everybody? In this video we're going to be learning how to make a delicious drink called the Nicaraguan Cacao. If you've not had this before, you are in for a treat, I promise. It is a milk-based, rice-based chocolate drink where you can add a little bit of rum to it if you want, and it is to die for. So first of all, you need some white rice. Just a classic bag of white rice will be fine, and you need some cocoa beans. I will put a link to this specific stuff in the description below. I recommend you use this quality stuff. So first of all, we're going to take 1 cup of your white rice. Again, this can be standard white rice that you pick up anywhere. And you're going to pour it into a pitcher as shown here. And I recommend you use a clear pitcher. This has a really beautiful texture to it, so you can watch it as it's being made. So next we're going to take 2 cups of cold clear water and pour it into the pitcher. We're basically going to be making our base. So what we're going to be doing is soaking the rice overnight. Okay, so we're going to pour that water into the pitcher. We have 1 cup of white rice and 2 cups approximately of water, and we will let that sit, as I said, overnight. Now the next morning you'll take it out and just kind of set that aside for now. We're going to be spending some time with preparing our cocoa beans. Here's a good look at these cocoa beans up close and personal. So what we're going to be doing is counting them out. So approximately 30 individual beans, more or less, does not have to be exact. And we're going to be frying these. You can bake them. I've never baked them, but I prefer to fry them. I put them on a skillet. No oil or anything like that. Just turn up to high to medium heat, and you will look how lightly colored they are. And we're going to be turning those outer shells basically black color or very dark brown color. Before we get started, here's the bean underneath the shell. You can see that right there. The dark part is the bean, the light colored part is the shell. This one has a cracked shell, so you can see the bean inside. So basically we need to cook the bean, and then we're going to be peeling or removing that outer shell, as you can see here. So that's what it looks like before we get started, so you know what to look for. And again, we're going to be coloring that bean, the shell of the bean, to a dark color. Okay, so leave the shells on for now while they heat, and you can see them starting to crisp up, turning to turn a little black on the sides. And just give them a little shake, or you can use a spatula to rotate them. They will burn, so you don't want to overheat them, but just keep them moving, keep them dancing on the skillet until they are black on both sides. So this batch has a little bit further to go. We're almost there. All right, they are looking pretty good. And so once they get to about that point, you can take them off of the heat, put them in a bowl, and let them cool down before you peel them. They are obviously extremely hot. So once they're cooled down, you can take the beans. Now this part is a little laborious, so plan on spending a little bit of time here and taking some care. You want to remove lightly that shell and peel it away from the bean. Be careful not to crack the bean. A little bit of art here, but not impossible at all. The bean itself is very fragile and brittle. So you'll want to kind of twist, kind of pick with your fingernail, and then kind of twist lightly and gently until the shell is removed. And this is what you want, a nice smooth bean. You can see that, no bumpy texture, nice and smooth. And you'll put them in a pot and the shells in a separate pot. You can throw away those, discard those shells there, and this is what you want right here. Notice I do have a few cracked beans in there, no big deal. All right, so our next step, we're gonna take those beans and put them into a blender and prepare our base, or to continue to prepare our base. So we're going to put those beans in there, and then we're going to shake up that rice that was sitting overnight, dump all the rice and the water into the blender. We're going to blend it all up. Dash of vanilla and a little bit of cinnamon. I just kind of ballpark it. You don't have to be exact. There we go. That looks pretty good. So we're going to bring this inside and we're going to blend it up. We're going to start kind of on a low pulse just to kind of get things moving around. And then, of course, we will increase it to high. Now, I love this blender. I'll put a link in the description below. If you don't have a good blender, this thing is awesome. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes just blending everything on high, get it all nice and chopped up. And then you're going to pour it into a bowl. Any bowl will do. You just need it to basically be a container to hold all that stuff for just a moment, because what you're going to do is grab a strainer and your blender again, and you're going to pour all this stuff through the strainer so that all that liquid will go into your blender. Okay, obviously there's a lot of ways you can do this, but the moral of the story here is you want to put that through the blender. So here it is, all that gunk is caught into in the strainer, and we can discard that. But keep your blender and just put it to the side for a moment. So next we'll take some fresh milk. I just happen to have 2% milk, and I'm going to pour myself 2 cups of it. All right, so next you're going to pour your blender, all that good stuff from the blender, into your 2 cups of milk. Notice I put the 2 cups of milk into a pitcher. Okay, so basically mix your base there with the milk in the pitcher, and that's what you want. Now from here you're just going to sweeten to taste. So I happen to have about 1/3 of a cup. You can put another 1/3 of a cup in, stir it up. Obviously whatever suits your desired taste there will do just fine. And then give it a really good stir. And now we're going to chill it and put it in the refrigerator before serving it. You could serve it on ice at this moment, but I like to put it in the fridge just for a couple of hours to get a nice chill going. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to prepare my authentic Nicaraguan cups. If you don't have a set of these, I highly recommend it. This is a great way to present this particular drink, make it very Central American, almost Caribbean in nature. So these are pretty cool, handmade, hand-carved. All right, so once our drink has been chilled, you can see the really interesting textures form. The sediment obviously forming on the bottom there, and it does have a little bit of sediment, but it's delicious. Stir it up really well, and you should be pretty much ready to serve at this point. So you might be asking yourself, well, how much does this recipe yield? So take a look at our picture here. We'll fill up 1 of these cups, and then we will fill up a second, and we'll have a little bit left over. So it yields about 3 of these cups, so about 2 people, 1 serving each, right? Maybe 1.5. And for a little extra flavor, you can add a splash of rum. So that's about it, a delicious, refreshing drink called the Nicaraguan Cacao. Thank you so much, and I hope this video has been helpful.